how do some people have high metabolisms? It's like their metabolism switch is working differently, allowing them to gobble up a whole pizza and ice cream and still be skinny. While you're cutting your favorite foods left, right, and center, and the scale still won't budge. You're not hallucinating. The study published in the highly credible science journal shows that people of the same sex and weight can burn hundreds of calories differently each day. While genetics play a part, they aren't the whole story. In fact, science shows our metabolism doesn't always function at the same rate. It's responsive. It reacts to how safe our body feels. And at some point, you may have turned off your safety switch. How would you know if you did? Well, have you been noticing any of these symptoms? You're eating less and less, but fat loss is getting harder and harder. Your drive to eat is getting higher and higher, especially at night. You're feeling more and more tired, physically and mentally. From your body's perspective, this makes complete sense. For most of human history, fat loss didn't mean success, it meant danger. When food access was unpredictable, the goal wasn't to get lean. The goal was to stock up on fat so you could make it past the famine and survive. Meaning the master switch to a high metabolism is the eat enough switch. You give your body enough food, it feels safe, and your metabolism stays high. But this is a catch-22. You can't lose weight without eating less. And yet, when you eat less, your metabolism crashes, hunger and cravings spike, and you burn out. If you've been feeling weight loss is impossible, this is why. So then how do you lose weight while keeping your eat enough switch turned on? There is a zone we call the sweet spot that toes exactly this line. You're eating less, but not so less that it triggers your body's alarms. The sweet spot is different for each person, and it shifts as you get leaner. I'm going to reveal the 4 safety checks we monitor and keep turned on for our clients to keep them inside their sweet spot. So fat loss becomes way easier. Less hunger, fewer cravings, shorter stalls. Permanent weight loss. The first check is the catabolic state check. In this state, your body is under threat and it will not let go of fat if you push. The clearest sign of this is the 3rd symptom. You're feeling more and more tired, physically and mentally. My client Lacey's story is a classic example of how this happens. For 2 months straight, she was doing everything right. She followed her eating plan. You can see her target calories here, and then the blue graph is her actual calories. You can see they're under. She's losing weight. All looks good. Then suddenly, her fat started going up, even though you can see that she kept hitting all of her targets. But because her targets were sustainable, as the targets for all our clients are dialed to be, she didn't feel it was hard to keep hitting them. So she didn't update us on this, and she just kept going, expecting her fat loss would resume. But then a holiday weekend happened where she blew past her targets. She was dreading check-in day, but she remembered the mantra inside our program: data is learning, not judgment. And so she stepped onto the scale and took her measurements. The result? She had lost fat for the first time in weeks, despite blowing past her targets. Now let's put our science hats on and break down what happened. As a coach, the first thing that jumps out at me is this isn't enough data. We have the results, which is the blue line. We can see that she was meeting her targets, which is the bar graph. But what's missing is the proxy of listening to her body. And if we add that in, which is the sleep graph down here, we see that her sleep dropped drastically about a week before her weight started going up. And this is despite her meeting her targets in the bar graph. So what happened was her body went into a catabolic state, meaning it felt unsafe. Now for Lacey, this was due to stress and low sleep quality. But we see the same pattern from overtraining, illness, or digestive issues. Different triggers, same shutdown. So check 1 is simple. Are you in a catabolic state right now? If the answer is yes, pushing harder is like pushing a boulder against a wall. The fix is always the same. You don't force fat loss. You restore safety first by shooting back up to eating at maintenance, reducing exercise to walks, and getting 8 hours of quality sleep. But if you're like me, you don't want to take a fat loss break when it's not necessary and only causes delays to getting fat loss over with. So how do you know for sure if you're in a catabolic state? I'll walk you through the how-to later, but first we need to talk about the way more common case for all of us. You're not in a catabolic state and fat loss still isn't happening. This is the first symptom. You're eating less and less, but fat loss is getting harder and harder. I'll use our client Carla's data story here. She had been stuck at the same weight for months before joining. But in the first week with us, she started dropping fat like no one's business. 5.1 pounds the first week, 2.4 pounds the second week, 4.2 pounds the third week. She wasn't on low carb or anything extreme. One small change that tackled her main bottleneck is the crux of our entire approach. And this is an outlier example of what happens when you stop doing busy work and get down to surgical precision with your changes. While she was thrilled, as her coach, I was a little worried. So I broke down her weight loss into fat versus lean mass loss. And you can see that her rapid weight loss has more lean mass loss than it does fat loss. This is the key problem. When you eat less and less, your safety switch can turn off and your body starts losing muscle, the thing that costs 5 times more energy to maintain than fat. But then as you lose more and more muscle, your metabolism decreases and decreases, which means fat loss gets harder and harder. Now, if you're wondering, how come you didn't stop Carla after week 1? The thing is, lean mass consists of not just muscle, but also water, stored carbs, aka glycogen, etc. It's normal in the first few weeks to lose water and glycogen, and some people, like maybe Carla, tend to lose lots of it at the start. But what's not normal is for this to continue past weeks 2 or 3. The dangerous thing here is we tend to not notice we're losing more lean mass than fat until it's too late, because most of us track only weight. And yet, weight is misleading. Here are pictures of me at the same weight looking totally different. And it's not just me. Here's a weight is meaningless article from Bored Panda that shows women and men looking pudgy at normal BMI weights until they fixed it. The bad news is the fix after getting to your goal weight pudgy takes longer than getting to that weight in the first place. The good news is if you're watching this video, you're not there yet, so you can stop this from happening in the first place. After this video, you can use the body fat tracker linked in the description below to split your weight check-ins into fat and lean mass, and it'll tell you when you're failing this check and the first catabolic state check. That is the how do I promised earlier. But we still need to know what to do if you're losing more lean mass than fat. Simple, but counterintuitive. Up your calorie target by 1.05x your target, which was about 150 calories more for Carla. Week 5, and boom, fat loss continues, but lean mass has tapered off. But here's Rowan, who was also losing fast, like Carla, except his data showed that it was mostly fat loss. So are we all good here? No. Let's look at the gradient, the rate of loss, and it shows he's lost 1.5% of fat per week over the past 3 weeks. And let's pull up our data on risk at different fat loss rates. So if Rowan's body is losing more than 1% of fat loss per week over the past 3 weeks, then it is signaling that his body will switch to losing muscle if he continues, and he would be entering into the unsafe zone that Carla had been in. So before his safety switch turned off, we upped his calories by 1.05x, about 300 calories for him, to get him down to the safe zone, which you can see here. And once we did that, you can see here that his weight loss rate, along with his fat loss rate, tapered off to something that is in the 0.5 to 1% zone, which is the safe zone. But there's another we're headed into unsafe zone signal, hunger. You may be losing fat in the safe zone right now, but if you don't tackle hunger correctly, you'll drift into the stalled zone. If you're like I was, you first try to willpower your way through hunger, but then a few days later, this becomes too much. So you look for low-calorie foods that you could eat more of, especially veggies, since the fiber should keep you full longer. Makes sense on paper, but in practice, hunger seems unabated. You Google what to do and get told protein is key. So you go whole hog on protein. But the days you hit your protein targets, you go over your calories and end up gaining fat. But the days you don't pay attention to protein, you're hungry. The mistake people make is they think more protein is always better. But protein is a signal. Just like we don't need our TVs at max volume to hear clearly, your body doesn't need max protein to feel safe. Instead, we need to tune protein just right for your body to feel safe and for you to be able to hit your protein target consistently day after day. And here's the truth. Your body reacts to protein relative to your calorie intake, not to grams per body weight. If you eat 2,000 calories one day and 1,500 the next, your body isn't asking, did I get the same grams of protein? It's asking, given how little calories I'm getting, is this weight loss safe? If safety depended on body weight alone, then everyone at their goal weight would have their safety switch turned off. But they don't, because safety is about calories you ate, not the number on the scale. Now, most popular fitness books and channels recommend 20 to 30% of calories come from protein, which is still gonna feel like a lot, and it is, because they're advising what they do. You see, protein is a classification signal. When you're very lean and in a calorie deficit, low protein tells the body this weight loss might be tissue breakdown. That's dangerous. So their bodies demand a lot of protein to feel safe. But you're different. You have more fat stores, the very thing the body saves for famine. So when you lose weight, your body is far less likely to interpret it as an emergency. And if it does, you have room to bump your calories like we discussed earlier, which means you don't need extreme protein to stay safe. So what percentage should you aim for? Pulling up our data, we found something better than expected. While clients who got 15% of their calories from protein kept their safety switch turned on and found it sustainable, which is the adherence score over here, you can see that's pretty good. It's like about 78%. Those who ate a tad more, which is 18%, they had way more better adherence score. And the reason for that is because they got the same benefits of signaling safety to their body and 2 extra bonus benefits. That extra 3% made the target just enough of a stretch to quietly push them toward a key sustainability habit: 4 square meals spaced 3.5 to 4 hours apart. One small change knocks down several healthy habit dominoes automatically. But what if your safety switch is on, metabolism is humming, but cravings are blowing your plan? Or your fat loss stalls because of non-metabolism reasons? Yes, there are other reasons stalls happen. You can handle it in one of 2 ways. One, if you want my help shortcutting through all the trial and error, that's what my weight loss program is built for. We use your data to keep your safety switch on, catch problems early, and make the smallest possible change that actually move the needle. So fat loss gets easier and easier over time. If you're done trying random fixes and want a clear, personalized roadmap, you can learn more about the program in the description and comments below. Or if you want to DIY it, then you don't want to ignore this video where I walk through 4 real client case studies, each with a different metabolic type, and show step by step exactly what we changed to get them unstuck. So you don't want to miss the complete step-by-step breakdown here. And always remember, you can do it.